So, this is Minecraft online multiplayer, and this is my house or dwelling that I've been creating as a self-soothing activity, but also because I was thinking about making some video eventually that would be relaxing and soothing for stressed minds, for stressed people. And there has been a lot of suffering for me too in the past days when reading the news and following the news and getting to know more about the Gaza genocide, which is as bad as the Nazi genocide in Auschwitz, if not even worse. And I'm not going to start talking about those things in this video, but there are playlists on YouTube that I don't recommend you watch if you already have some more severe trauma like PTSD or something. That it won't help if you it will make things worse apparently if you go and start watching the playlist, especially if you're already in a war zone and whatever. So, but my experience has been that I've also been in a war zone, the same stress, because it does have to do with and this is not diminishing the experience. I mean, I don't mean to diminish the or belittle the experience of people in war zones. I mean, there are such horrible and horrific destinies or experiences that I cannot even begin to imagine. So, just a disclaimer about that. But when it comes to the headspace, so to speak, the thoughts and mental images, when I've watched the videos, apparently there has been a lot of stress and anger and that kind of stuff, tiredness, sorrow, but it has released now. But also, like in this environment, our environment where I live, there are stress factors, and I think there is still PTSD for this body mind that is active, and it cannot sleep well due to that. So last night, quote unquote, I slept for 4 hours. I fell asleep at 11 a.m. and woke up at 3 p.m. But still, at the moment, the suffering has released, and these words are coming from the relief. And the reason for this video is to spread this soothing vibe that is present right now, and to also to show care and love to people who need it in this apparent time on planet Earth. I don't know what this video is gonna be like. So I'll show this little apartment from the outside that I've made so far. I'm gonna continue this pier here, and this is from the outside. I thought about creating some like a round window, like a hobbit style dwelling, at least from the outside, like a big round wooden frame over there. And then after that, I don't know, I might make like a hidden cove inside this little mound next to the that you can access from inside the dwelling. And I've also I've gotten some uh, I've gotten some trees that don't grow on this or in this area. For example, this one I've planted, and I'm trying to get these bigger trees. I've also decorated this tree quite a lot, added some leaves and stuff. I'm trying to get more of these bigger trees to transform this whole area to be more, a little bit more, I don't know, fun. These are all from expeditions, and the wall I had to build. This is just temporary, but this is for nighttime when these monsters get spawned outside of the bounds of my claimed space. Anyway, there might not be much gameplay here. I can also share some mantras that I've been chanting while thinking about some people that I love, that there is love for, and what loves is it's unconditional love that is somehow like, what is reality? Reality is somehow like, unreality is that horrible war, for example. It's torture. That's the illusory separate reality. I mean, unreality, sorry, separate unreality, let's say. And reality, so to speak, with a big R, is love, unconditional love, that is appearing as different people, but they are not seen as separate. The essence, I don't know if essence is the right word, but in essence, we are all the same aware presence that is hearing these words right now. So the words that I have been chanting, they just came. They're simple words. Is and they help also, with the feeling of compassion and with the feeling of love also. That can also grow. So the chant has been like, you are loved, and what you are is unconditional, loving awareness. And at the same time, really meaning it. Like, I really do mean it. You are loved, and what you are actually is unconditional, loving awareness, or unconditionally loving awareness. And it's not a lie. These words right now are coming from that loving awareness that we all fundamentally are in the end. When the mental images and when the idea of time space, when the memory of time space, the apparent memory, which includes feelings and images and emotions, felt energies, when that ends, when they are dropped, there is only this, just this. And just this is naturally just open, empty, aware, and love seems to be the only expression that has to do with reality. And it's also felt. The love is also felt. It's a feeling also. And the source of love, unconditional love, is what we are, which is empty awareness, cognizance, the awareness that is hearing these words, which is not a person, which is not in time, in which time appears as an illusion maybe. But for this loving awareness, time and illusion does not exist. For this loving awareness, suffering doesn't seem to exist. Suffering does seem to appear, but it's illusion. It's based on illusory conditions and illusory, like transient things, which is time, which is always past, and projection, and apparent circumstances. But the circumstances are illusory, like a war, for example, or torture. But that can still appear, and that can still be really intense. But it doesn't seem to be appearing when there is this. I'm looking for trees, by the way. Actually, I need to go a lot further. The big trees don't grow here. I forgot what I was gonna say about the loving awareness, but by saying I love you, that doesn't mean that anyone has to do anything. Anyone that this is like directed at. It's at the same time it can be directed at people, animals, but also not at anyone. Just love expressing itself to itself. So this is not a demand like, okay, I'm saying I love you, so you must love me back. Love doesn't demand anything, and I need nothing from you. I wish you the best. I wish you all the best. And as love, we are one. We are not separate. We are not two. Thank you. I should probably gather some coral if I'm gonna make the cove within the home, quote unquote home. This is home also. When the suffering ends, and it can end. It's my experience right now. There has been really intense suffering and even hatred, like rage. Maybe not hatred, but rage. Oh, oxygen, please. No, there hasn't been hatred, I don't think, because of the understanding or because of the concept of those that do those insane things. Like I don't I don't even want to say the worst things in this video right now, but those that torture and kill people, there are severe, long-lasting karmic consequences for those torturers. Those apparent mind streams that are apparently there is actually no one there choosing to torture anyone, but still there are apparent consequences after the apparent death of the physical body, and that consequence has to do with hell, and it lasts for if Buddhism is to be believed, it's an unimaginably long time. It cannot be imagined. It's such a long time. It's not a lifetime. It's not even a million lifetimes. And as long as there is not waking up from the karmic cycle, the paradises and the hells and stuff like that. I mean, this is a bit of a story though, but still. The cycle of like raising up to the paradise and then maybe falling to human realms and eventually to hell realms, that just keeps going on indefinitely until it is seen, until the illusory nature of it all is seen, and it's seen that, oh, there's no one in the body doesn't belong to anyone, and the thoughts are empty of self, and the emotions are also empty of self, and the only reality is this empty, open awareness that is hearing these words right now, that love springs from unconditional love. Maybe I shouldn't go down there. This is way too deep. In the game, referring to the game. Way too deep, this ocean floor. I'll go look for corals and stuff. There are dolphins and... Oh yeah, it's also really cool. This a game can be played in VR, so I've been thinking about that too. Like creating a really cool home and then visiting it, like quote unquote, actually with a VR headset, which I don't own right now, but I've had like 4 different VR headsets before, and it's mind blowing. VR is freaking mind blowing, but it's also not a it's also a transient pleasure. It's nothing really, nothing to be relied on for well-being or anything. So even during war, after there has been like intense periods of bombings and people dying around one, there can be many periods of timelessness which are not periods anymore. They're not like moments in time. Timelessness is not in time, and it can reveal itself after these periods of or it does seem to reveal itself after these periods of intense pain, when there's not trying to get rid of the emotional pain or emotional suffering. It eventually just releases, and then in its place there is this fresh comfort and loving intentions. They come naturally. There's an energy of love also that appears. So even war doesn't affect this love. Even war doesn't affect this well-being, and you can even see that in some of the children in Gaza, for example, and other people also. Like I've put some videos on the playlist that I don't recommend you watch right now if you have PTSD or trauma or something. But in those videos there are children who are still able to smile, and they smile quite a lot uh, in those videos, and they seem like something in them has broken or not come online, so to speak, like the sense of the sense of separation. So even in one of the most horrific places like Gaza right now, and it has been like recently, like in the past, I don't know how many years, maybe 8 years or something, it has been really horrific for the people over there. But still, some people are not broken because, or they are broken actually. Their hearts have been broken. Their minds are not, maybe, I don't know how to say it. Like their hearts have been broken, but they are broken open, and the love is shining through, flooding through. And there's just this empty spaciousness that is there naturally since birth, since the body's birth and prior to it also. Okay, I've never been here before. I don't know what there is. Let's see. Referring to the game. And also something else comforting, I can say. I've been also listening to a lot of, not lately, but before this war, for example. I've been listening to near-death experiences, and it's about 90%, and this has to do with the karmic seeds. So a lot of people who seem to have had near-death experiences seem to be good people at heart, so to speak. like decent human beings, because after the death experience, or during the near death experience, the near death experience for them have been, for the 90% of the accounts that I've heard, has been, they have been they have had to do with love, God, wellness, happiness, joy, all that. But all that can also be revealed in life, during life. And yeah, there are different degrees of intensity depending on how much of the form is absent. Like life is always, like the mundane, so-called mundane life, that is always, it always has to do with senses, physical senses and imagination. Even imagination even has to do with these six senses, or five, sixth senses thinking. But it's seeing, smelling, tasting, touching. What else? Seeing, smelling, tasting, touching, hearing, and then thinking is the sixth sense. Okay, I screwed up a little. I checked that voice recording was on, and then I died. Or the avatar died. Minecraft avatar, the guy. Oh, okay, it's offline. Okay, so it will come online soon. So I was talking about how everything is presented via the senses and imagination, and even imagination has to do with the five senses or six senses, thinking plus the physical senses. Even in night dreams, the even in night dreams, the apparent unreality or separation, reality, or I don't know, reality, whatever. That is also just seeing, tasting, hearing, touching, smelling, thinking, apparent thinking, apparent touching, apparent smelling, tasting, etc. And the degree to which those faculties or those sensory appearances are absent, that kind of determines the intensity of the feeling of love, for example, or the wellness or transcendental, the revelation of the transcendental emptiness or the sky-like awareness. And there are even like near-death experiences are not, there's not fully absent the senses, but this thing can go so far, so deep. It can be so total, everything can just end so totally, all the senses can end. And this is not even deep sleep, this is something much more profound or prior to even deep sleep, where there is just, well, the cognizing emptiness that I've mentioned before, or the words have mentioned before. And that could be also said to be perfect death. And I know people, and it's also described in Tibetan Buddhism, that perfect death, which is not like for that perfect death, or for that perfect sky of awareness, no death exists. So only from relativity it can be said to be perfect death. Like afterwards, maybe if there's a total cessation of everything. Okay, this is very befitting. I started walking, and what I was talking about, the sky of awareness. Now there's just a sky. There was a limit to this world, and now there's just a sky with some clouds in it and blue sky. But many people say that that has been like the most auspicious, the most fortunate. They have been the most blessed, so to speak, to have died. That is the most amazing thing to be revealed, that Dharmakaya, or Dharmadhatu actually. And Dharmadhatu is the basic cognizing emptiness without anything in it, just nothing. And then Dharmakaya could be maybe said to be, I might be wrong here, this might be a misinterpretation or misremembering the teachings, but Dharmakaya is like a mirror reflection, a truthful, undistorted reflection of that primary Dharmakaya. But anyway, so it appears that there's a lot of suffering in the world, and like absolute horrors, terrors. But probably like, who can know, like most of the children that have been killed, or yeah, their experience after death might have been just happiness, and like those near death, oh, I wrote NDA by accident here, those near death reports where there was just love and God's presence. But this is not to say that suicide would be the way out, because that would be, then again, that would be aversion to certain feelings, and usually, like according to certain teachings anyway, that which is run away from, like emotions, feelings, perceptions, beliefs, they tend to be remade by the mind as consecutive, like following recurring lives until they are met, not run away from those emotions and feelings and beliefs. When the beliefs are questioned, when there is a stopping, then they can release. But anyway, suffering is not infinite, or suffering is not the truth. What is true is love. And I'm speaking from my own experience, so to speak. Even right now, I love you. You are loved, and you are loving awareness. What we all are is loving awareness. I wish you the best. All the blessings. May all the blessings be given to you and other people around you, and for planet Earth, for the apparent planet Earth, for peace, for love, for harmony. May all being be at peace. Thank you.